Hi, so today we're joined by Evan Walker, Director of the Smart Innovation Centre at Transport for New South Wales. Evan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Jess.
When it comes to the development of transport technologies, we've seen that in some jurisdictions like the US, it's really being led by the private sector, whereas in other locations like the UK, it's been more of a government push. Obviously, the Smart Innovation Centre is fostering sort of partnerships between the public and private sector. How do you encourage and develop those successful private-public partnerships?
The new automated technology and other interesting transport technologies we're looking at, they're really being driven by the private sector. What's really important for the public sector is to make sure that the use cases and how they're used really support our future transport outcomes in New South Wales. So the things it provides to customers around safety and mobility. So what we're really looking for from partners, from industry, is both to encourage them to bring the technology here because there's fantastic use cases, but we're also looking for partners who understand those transport outcomes and share those as well. So they have a desire themselves to see better customer experience, they understand the safety things that we need to deal with as well. So when we try and go out into a new market, like the automated vehicle space, we've run a few of concepts where we've gone to industry in really innovative procurement ways and tried to build a market up where there probably isn't one now, and encourage those companies that share those kind of views and are already operating, say, in the transport or customer sector, to come together as a bit of a consortium and try and solve maybe a local use case in regional New South Wales or in Sydney to start to slowly and build up that market presence.
Right. And for our clients who've been investing in this space and trying to take up those opportunities, we found that often they're really driven by the ability to try and harvest those data sets that are generated through the technology and maybe leverage that for other use cases. So with that in mind, how do you sort of balance on the one hand encouraging that to attract that investment and that activity, with also obviously needing to protect the privacy of the public and the security of the technology itself?
Privacy of our customers' data and safety and security, that's our number one priority, and I think most of the partners we work with understand that. But it is a balance because we want to improve the customer experience. So at some level we need to have more information about customers, about their travel patterns, to know how to provide those really focused and customer-centred products that make their daily lives more seamless. So things like mobility as a service or contactless ticketing, all of those kind of things rely on us understanding where our customers are going and the kind of journeys they're making. But it's about managing that in a really sensible and considerate way. As a government, we really need to understand our privacy obligations, and we do follow those really stringently, but we're also really looking for those great new customer outcomes you'll get from the technology. So it is a balance, but it's really being mindful of the privacy obligations we have and making sure that they're first. Privacy by design is a really good way to look at things, so that have we designed a system that manages privacy up front, and where privacy issues come up, we do an impact assessment to make sure that there isn't anything from a customer point of view to be concerned about.
Right. And given how quickly these things are unfolding and how quickly we're grappling with all of these issues, both on the privacy side but also just on the pure technology side, how do we make sure that we are we're taking the time that we need to make sure that things are done right, and to make sure also that we're not investing in technology that will become obsolete really quickly, but also acting quickly enough to make sure that we're sort of first to market and we don't just become importers of this technology, but we're actually developing it locally? Yeah,
look, that's really important. We don't want to miss the harnessing the opportunities that technology provides at all. We don't want to be too slow out of the block, so we don't want to have a policy framework that's not attractive to industry and investment, because then we'll get left behind, and what we end up with could be technology that's not developed for us, it's developed for another jurisdiction, and it's imposed on us because we don't build vehicles here currently, and a lot of the tech's getting developed overseas. So what's really important is we invest in some no regrets initiatives. We do proof of concepts, we partner with industry and test some of the ideas in a formative way while we're still developing up what the future actually looks like. So a good example for us is our automated vehicle trials, where we've developed some trial legislation. And the NTC is building Commonwealth legislation that will come into play in a couple of years, but in the interim we're able to trial things now to let us build up our understanding of what's important, of the right use cases for New South Wales, and take those steps so we don't get left behind, but we can make the right investments but in a cautious way, and we're able to fail in certain circumstances. Not fail on safety, but fail on the use case side of things and go, no, that's not the right use case, or the tech's not going to work there. So when it comes to things actually landing in Australia properly at scale, we've got some great learnings under our belt.
That's great. Evan, this has been really insightful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Jess.